On the 13th of November 2024, President Joe Biden and President-elect Donald Trump met for a peaceful transition of power meeting, just like their predecessors throughout the past have done before. But this comes after months and years of them saying less than nice things about each other.
Biden, he's terrible. Worst president in our history. He's the worst president. He's the most incompetent president.
Most importantly, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, Trump is a threat to this nation.
Now, I'm just an amateur who likes to pay attention to life, and I like American politics because you get to watch history being made in real time, and Donald Trump is just like walking history. I'm looking forward to covering the next tenure of his presidency in the next 4 years, and to give some general highlights and analysis of events and interviews and presidential decisions and things like that. So please consider subscribing. This should be fun.
Elect and former president,
Thank you.
Donald, congratulations.
Thank you.
And looking forward to having a, like we said, smooth transition.
Okay, so oddly, the first thing I notice about this scene is that the open fire was on. And it's not completely out of place for Biden to have the open fire on in these types of meetings. And it is a cold November day. Temperatures in DC at that time are around 11 degrees or 51 Fahrenheit. And we've seen this before in meetings which took place, for instance, in January the 4th, 2019, when the temperature was in single digits at that time. It was around 7 degrees or less. So we won't read much into it. Having the fire on actually gives a warm, homely, inviting feeling, like America have just been welcomed into the White House for this conversation. Of course, the evergreen Swedish ivory is on the mantelpiece, and that's a legacy of the Kennedy presidency. And his brother Bobby Kennedy's bust is just behind the President Joe Biden there. That was sculpted by the late Bob Burks. Now, we don't get to see or hear much of what was said, but it seems cordial and it seems non-hostile. It can't be understated that both of these men are around 80 years old. Biden at this time is 81, Trump a little younger at 78. Granddads, born in the 1940s, and they are both still here doing what they think is right for their country in the highest office in the land. So whatsoever side of the political aisle you're on, that should be something to be commended for both of these men. As they go to shake hands, something to mention that I've noticed over the years is that regardless of how much Trump may disagree with someone and have not so nice things to say about them, he usually is very courteous when meeting them. So be this in interviews, he may walk out, but before walking out, he tells the interviewer good luck or thanks a lot, shakes their hand usually. Or when he was being depositioned a couple of years ago, or even now, he shows courtesy, and this is important to witness, especially since over the last few years, the media have been painting Trump as a dictator, ravenous for power and seeking revenge. So President Biden goes for the handshake and graciously offers to support the transition and speaks directly to Trump, while Trump speaks to the media as well as the president.
We can make sure you're accommodated, what you need, and we're going to get a chance to talk about some of that today. So
Good.
welcome
Thank you
back.
very much. And thank you very much. And politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today.
Now, according to the White House secretary, they met for nearly 2 hours.
I don't want to go into specifics or details, but look, they met for more than 2 hours. They met for a very long time, or nearly 2 hours, pardon me. And I think by the length of the meeting tells you that they had an in-depth conversation.
No questions were taken, and that was a smart move. There's way too much water under the bridge here. This moment just needs to rise above all of what's happened in the last few years for the sake of restoring a sense of stability to the country, and now for posterity to look back on for the future. After such a long, bitter battle between these two men, I'm glad that at least for this moment, maybe, and maybe even if it's just for the cameras, these two presidents who are approaching and in their octogenarian age can make amends like all good men should. Until you hear my voice next, have a good journey, be blessed.